The design brief for the Hellcat was simple yet ambitious: build a fighter that could dominate the Pacific skies. It needed more power, more speed, more armor, and more firepower. The design process was remarkably swift, driven by the urgency of the war. Grumman's engineers took the lessons learned from the Wildcat and amplified them. They didn't aim for delicate grace, they aimed for a sledgehammer. They focused on pilot survivability, ease of maintenance, and above all, raw performance where it mattered most: speed, climb, and diving capability. At the heart of the F6F Hellcat was its magnificent engine, the Pratt & Whitney R2800 Double Wasp. This wasn't just any engine, it was a marvel of engineering, a supercharged 18-cylinder radial powerhouse that generated over 2,000 horsepower. This immense power translated directly into speed, a crucial advantage over the Zero. The Hellcat could outrun the Zero in a dive and achieve higher top speeds at altitude, allowing it to dictate the terms of engagement. The roar of the Double Wasp wasn't just noise, it was a symphony of American industrial might, a declaration of intent echoing across the Pacific. For a pilot, the sheer thrust of the R2800 was a confidence booster, knowing they had the power to get into a fight and, more importantly, to get out of one. This engine was not only powerful, but also remarkably reliable, a critical factor for combat aircraft operating thousands of miles from major repair facilities. Beyond its engine, the Hellcat was a fortress in the sky. It boasted 6.50 caliber Browning M2 machine guns, 3 mounted in each wing, delivering a devastating torrent of lead. Each gun fired at approximately 750 rounds per minute, meaning a Hellcat could unleash over 4,500 rounds per minute, a truly overwhelming volume of fire. This wasn't just about hitting the enemy, it was about tearing them apart. The Zero, with its lighter armament, typically 2 20mm cannons and 2 7.7mm machine guns, could deliver sharp blows, but the Hellcat's concentrated firepower could literally shred an aircraft in a single pass. Pilots often described seeing entire sections of Zeros disintegrate under the fuselage from their 6 guns. This raw, brute force firepower was a game-changer, quickly turning engagements into one-sided affairs. But what truly set the Hellcat apart from its lighter adversary was its emphasis on protection. The Zero was built for speed and agility, sacrificing armor for performance. The Hellcat was built for war. It featured self-sealing fuel tanks, a design innovation that prevented fuel leaks and fires even after being hit multiple times. The pilot was shielded by a substantial amount of armor plating around the cockpit, including a bulletproof windscreen and an armored seat. This level of protection meant that Hellcat pilots could absorb considerable damage and still fly their aircraft home, or at least survive to bail out. This wasn't just about the machine, it was about the man inside it. Knowing your aircraft could take a hit and keep flying instilled a profound sense of confidence and aggression in the pilots. It transformed their mindset from one of cautious defense to one of bold offense. The Hellcat's airframe itself was a testament to Grumman's Iron Works moniker. It was rugged, robust, and designed to withstand the immense stresses of carrier landings and high-speed combat maneuvers. It was capable of absorbing bottle damage that would have sent a Zero spiraling to its doom. This durability was not an accident, it was a fundamental design choice, acknowledging the brutal realities of aerial combat over the Pacific. A Hellcat might return to the carrier riddled with holes, its engine sputtering, but it would often return, bringing its pilot home alive. This was a stark contrast to the Zero, which was notorious for exploding into a fireball with even a few hits. While the Hellcat might have looked slow and clumsy to the Zero pilots, its performance metrics told a different story. Its top speed of over 370 miles per hour was significantly faster than the Zero at most combat altitudes. Its climb rate was excellent, allowing it to gain altitude quickly and maintain the advantage of height. Crucially, its diving speed was phenomenal. The Hellcat could dive at incredible speeds without structural failure, a maneuver that would rip the wings off a Zero. This high-speed dive capability, combined with its robust structure, became a core component of the boom and zoom tactics that American pilots perfected. They would dive on an enemy formation, make a quick pass, fire their devastating machine guns, and then use their speed and climb rate to disengage and set up for another attack, never engaging in a protracted turning fight. Of course, the Hellcat was not without its drawbacks. It was indeed less agile than the Zero in a low-speed turning fight. A Hellcat pilot who attempted to dogfight a Zero at low speeds and altitudes would quickly find themselves at a disadvantage. But American pilots were taught to never fight the Zero on its terms. They learned to exploit the Hellcat's strengths and the Zero's weaknesses. They used their superior speed, climb, and dive to control the engagement, dictating when and how combat occurred. The Hellcat's superior rate of roll also played a significant role, allowing pilots to quickly change their angle of attack or defense, making them harder targets. The Hellcat was also designed with the pilot in mind. Its cockpit was spacious and provided excellent visibility, a crucial advantage in the chaos of a dogfight. The controls were well laid out and responsive, making it an easy aircraft to fly for even relatively inexperienced pilots. The robust landing gear could absorb tremendous punishment, making carrier landings safer and less stressful. These seemingly small details contributed significantly to pilot confidence and effectiveness. For a young American pilot, often fresh out of flight school and facing seasoned Japanese aces, the Hellcat was a forgiving and powerful ally, providing the edge needed to survive and triumph. The arrival of the F6F Hellcat in squadron strength marked a turning point in the Pacific War. The first major deployment came in late 1943. While early encounters were often cautious, as pilots learned the nuances of their new aircraft, it quickly became clear that the balance of power had shifted. The lessons learned from the Wildcat years, combined with the Hellcat's superior capabilities, forged a new breed of aggressive American fighter pilot. They understood the new equation: use speed and power, avoid the turn, and bring overwhelming firepower to bear. One of the earliest and most critical proving grounds for the Hellcat was the campaign to neutralize Rabaul in early 1944. Rabaul, on the island of New Britain, was a heavily fortified Japanese base, a strategic cornerstone of their defensive perimeter. Its skies were swarming with some of Japan's most experienced pilots and their formidable Zeros. But now, it was the Hellcat's turn to go on the offensive. Day after day, waves of Hellcats, often flying escort for bombers, engaged Japanese fighters over Rabaul. The results were devastating for the Japanese. Hellcats shot down Zero after Zero, demonstrating a clear and decisive superiority. The skies over Rabaul, once a no-go zone for Allied aircraft, became a hunting ground for the Hellcat. The morale boost for American pilots was immense. The fear of the Zero began to dissipate, replaced by a growing confidence in their own machine. The true moment of reckoning, however, came in June 1944 during the Battle of the Philippine Sea, an engagement that would forever be known as the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. This was not just a battle, it was an aerial massacre, a decisive blow that effectively broke the back of Japanese naval air power for the remainder of the war. The stage was set during the American invasion of the Mariana Islands, specifically Saipan. The Japanese fleet, desperate to repel the invasion, launched a massive air attack from their carriers, aiming to destroy the American invasion fleet and its protecting aircraft carriers. The Japanese strategy was audacious but flawed. They planned long-range strikes from their carriers, hoping to catch the American fleet by surprise and overwhelm its defenses. However, American intelligence had forewarned their commanders, and the fleet was ready. Over 400 Japanese aircraft, including large numbers of Zeros, headed towards the U.S. Navy's Task Force 58. They flew in tight formations, confident in their numerical superiority and the perceived prowess of their pilots. But what awaited them was a wall of Hellcats. As the Japanese formations approached, they were met by hundreds of F6F Hellcats, vectored by superior American radar and coordinated by skilled fighter directors. The sky erupted into a swirling vortex of combat. For the American pilots, many of whom had trained extensively on the Hellcat, this was their moment. They had practiced the boom and zoom tactics, they understood the strengths of their aircraft, and they were eager to put an end to the Zero's legend. The air battle was not a series of individual dogfights, it was a systematic dismantling of an entire air fleet. The Hellcats, with their speed and devastating firepower, tore through the Japanese formations. One after another, Zeros and other Japanese aircraft exploded into fireballs, trailing smoke, or plunged helplessly into the ocean. The Japanese pilots, many of whom were less experienced than their earlier counterparts, were caught off guard. Their famed maneuverability was useless against Hellcats that refused to turn fight, instead executing high-speed passes, firing a torrent of .50 caliber rounds, and then zooming away to prepare for another attack. The self-sealing fuel tanks and armor of the Hellcat meant that even when hit, the American planes often kept flying, a terrifying psychological blow to the Japanese, who were used to seeing their hits result in immediate destruction. For the American pilots, the experience was surreal. Lieutenant Commander David McCampbell, who would go on to become the Navy's highest-scoring ace, described the sheer volume of targets. "It was like shooting ducks in a pond," he famously remarked. The sky was thick with enemy planes, and the Hellcats were racking up kills at an unprecedented rate. Ensign Alex Vracchio, another future ace, shot down 6 Japanese dive bombers in a single 8-minute engagement, a testament to the Hellcat's effectiveness and his own skill. The pilots knew they were fighting for their lives, but they also knew they held a decisive advantage. The fear and respect once reserved for the Zero had vanished, replaced by a grim determination to clear the skies. By the end of that fateful day, the statistics were almost unbelievable. The US Navy claimed approximately 300 Japanese aircraft destroyed, while losing only 30 of its own. This incredible 10-to-1 kill ratio was a clear indicator of the Hellcat's dominance. When considering the subsequent Phase 2 of the battle, where Hellcats intercepted returning Japanese aircraft attempting to land on their carriers in darkness, often with insufficient fuel and battle damage, the numbers became even more staggering. Many Japanese planes ran out of fuel or crashed attempting to land, adding to the aerial carnage. The combined results cemented the battle's morbid nickname, the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. It wasn't just a victory, it was an annihilation. The Japanese naval air arm, already strained by earlier losses, never truly recovered from this catastrophic defeat. Their pilot training pipeline could not replace the experienced airmen lost, nor could their factories replace the sheer number of aircraft destroyed. The Hellcat had utterly decimated the formidable force that once threatened to sweep across the Pacific. The Hellcat's impact extended far beyond individual aerial victories. It played a crucial role in the broader strategic objectives of the war. Its versatility allowed it to perform a wide range of missions: fighter escort for bombers, combat air patrol (CAP) over the fleet, ground support for amphibious landings, and even dive bombing and rocket attacks against ground targets and shipping. Its robust construction meant it could carry external ordnance without significant performance degradation, making it a truly multi-role fighter. The Battle of Leyte Gulf in October 1944, one of the largest naval battles in history, further showcased the Hellcat's capabilities. While the main focus of this battle was the clash of surface fleets, Hellcats were constantly in the air, providing vital air cover for the American ships, intercepting Japanese bombers and torpedo planes, and engaging any enemy fighters that dared to challenge their supremacy. They were the eyes and ears of the fleet, protecting against surprise attacks and ensuring the safe passage of troop and supply convoys. Their presence was a continuous deterrent, a constant reminder to the Japanese of the overwhelming aerial power they now faced. The pilots, often flying exhausting sorties for hours on end, felt the immense pressure of protecting their comrades below, knowing that every enemy plane they shot down potentially saved a ship and hundreds of lives. As the war progressed into 1945, the Hellcat continued to prove its worth in the brutal campaigns for Iwo Jima and Okinawa. These battles were characterized by fanatical Japanese resistance, including the terrifying phenomenon of kamikaze attacks. Hellcats were at the forefront of defending the fleet against these suicide attacks, often flying relentless combat air patrols, intercepting kamikaze aircraft before they could reach their targets. The Hellcat's speed, heavy armament, and rugged construction made it ideally suited for this desperate form of air combat. Pilots would often ram kamikaze planes as a last resort, knowing their Hellcat offered a better chance of survival than the fragile Zero. The courage of these pilots, facing an enemy determined to die, was awe-inspiring. They would charge headlong into swarms of kamikazes, pouring fire into them until they broke up or plunged into the sea, saving countless sailors and ships. The Hellcat's role in these final, brutal island campaigns wasn't just defensive. It also provided crucial close air support for the Marines and Army troops fighting on the ground. Hellcats would strafe Japanese positions, drop bombs on fortifications, and fire rockets at entrenched enemy forces, helping to break the stubborn resistance.
The sound of a Hellcat swooping low, its machine guns chattering, was a welcome sound for the embattled ground troops, a promise of aerial support against an unseen enemy. This close collaboration between air and ground forces was a testament to the Hellcat's adaptability and the integrated nature of American warfare. Throughout its operational history, the F6F Hellcat earned a legendary reputation as the ace maker. More American Navy and Marine Corps fighter aces achieved their 5 or more aerial victories flying the Hellcat than any other aircraft. This wasn't solely due to the Hellcat's inherent capabilities, though they were significant. It was also a reflection of the aircraft's user-friendliness, its forgiving nature, and its robust design. For a pilot, flying an aircraft that was powerful, well-protected, and effective in combat instilled confidence and allowed them to focus on the fight rather than battling their machine. The Hellcat made it easier for pilots to survive multiple engagements, gain experience, and refine their skills, leading to higher kill counts. Men like David McCampbell, who achieved 34 aerial victories, all in the Hellcat, became household names. Commander McCampbell's incredible feat of shooting down 9 Japanese aircraft in a single day during the Battle of Leyte Gulf stands as one of the most remarkable achievements in aerial combat history. Alex Vrachu, with 19 victories, was another shining example of the Hellcat's ace-making prowess. These weren't isolated incidents. Across dozens of squadrons and hundreds of engagements, the Hellcat consistently provided the platform for American pilots to dominate the skies. The aircraft simply allowed good pilots to be great and great pilots to be legends. The Hellcat effectively crushed the legendary Zero. It was not a fair fight, and it was never intended to be. The Hellcat represented a different philosophy of air combat, one of overwhelming power, defensive strength, and aggressive tactics. The Zero, for all its initial brilliance, was a relic of an earlier era, a design optimized for speed and agility at the expense of protection. In the brutal, attritional warfare of the Pacific, the Hellcat's ability to take a hit, deliver a devastating blow, and bring its pilot home safely proved to be the more effective and ultimately the more humane approach to air superiority. The transformation of the aerial landscape over the Pacific was profound. Where Japanese pilots once flew with supreme confidence, they now flew with trepidation, knowing that the slow, clumsy Hellcat was a superior predator. The sheer numerical superiority of American aircraft production, combined with the Hellcat's combat effectiveness, meant that Japan simply could not compete.
The Hellcat was not just a fighter, it was an industrial statement, a clear demonstration of America's ability to produce machines of war that were not only technologically advanced, but also rugged, dependable, and deadly in the hands of its well-trained pilots. The legacy of the F6F Hellcat is one of undeniable triumph. It was the right aircraft at the right time for the right war. It played an indispensable role in securing Allied air superiority across the Pacific, a prerequisite for the island-hopping campaign that eventually brought the war to Japan's doorstep. Its production numbers were immense, with over 12,000 Hellcats built, ensuring that there was always a continuous supply of these formidable fighters for the ever-expanding American carrier fleet. From the scorching skies over the Gilberts to the desperate defense above Okinawa, the Hellcat was there, always pushing the advantage, always delivering devastating blows. As the war concluded, the F6F Hellcat, having fulfilled its purpose with distinction, began to transition out of frontline service, replaced by even more advanced fighters like the Grumman F8F Bearcat and the nascent jet aircraft. Yet, its place in history was already cemented. It was the fighter that turned the tide, the rugged machine that obliterated Japan's air dominance, and the ace maker that defined the skies of World War II in the Pacific. The story of the Hellcat is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in delicate precision or graceful agility, but in raw power, unwavering resilience, and the relentless courage to face down an enemy, no matter how formidable their reputation. It was a fighter designed for survival, built for combat, and destined for victory. The Hellcat stands as an enduring symbol of American ingenuity and the indomitable spirit of the pilots who flew it, forever etched into the annals of military aviation as the ultimate weapon of naval aviation, a true giant slayer in the unforgiving theater of the Pacific War.
Its roar, its silhouette, and its unparalleled kill ratio continue to echo as a testament to its pivotal role in shaping the outcome of one of the greatest conflicts in human history.
That signature is inconsistent with the previous sweep. I want a drone on that target immediately.
Adjusting trajectory. Confirming target lock now.
Welcome home, Falcon Flight. Proceed to the line.
Sensor array for Papa, reading nominal.
Confirmed on the manifest, cross-referenced with flight data.
Though the struggle was immense, we proved that a government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish.
Approach vector confirmed. Preparing for descent sequence B.
Another successful mission in the books. To the crew. Cheers!
The atmospheric data shows an anomaly at 40,000 feet.
Global impact confirmed. This is a monumental achievement.
Indeed, widespread recognition for this influential work.
Wow, look how big it is. It's amazing. Do you think it flew?
Joker Flight, you are clear to land on runway 27. Watch the crosswind.
We must reroute the Third Fleet immediately. The defenses are too strong in this sector.
The data suggests a flanking maneuver is still viable if we push through.
The Sierra Junction is compromised. We need immediate redeployment.
Acknowledged. Shifting the vector of the Third Fleet now.
Look at the engines! They're huge! I want to be an astronaut and fly one! How does it land without wings?
By integrating the robotics, we've reduced the weight by 20%. Yeah.
And the structural analysis holds. We are cleared for the next phase.
Engaging now.
All inbound traffic hold position, vector 090.
Clear for taxi runway 27. Raptor 01, you are cleared for immediate departure on runway 28 right. Wind 290 at 10.
This plaque commemorates the Albatross, originally dubbed the joke plane by the press.
Look at the detail on that fuselage. It really captures the spirit of flight, doesn't it?
Absolutely stunning.
Wow, look at that! Yeah, he did it! Amazing!
The higher we flew, the smaller our worries seemed. It taught me perspective, that vast open sky.